Hi, welcome to Market Mama's podcast. I'm Becky and this is Kendra, and we have a special guest, my good friend Amy, with us today. So Market Mamas is a trading psychology podcast born out of Kendra's and my early frustrations as traders because we figured out that psychology hurdles was like by far the hardest part of learning to trader once you learn some technicals. So we decided to expand and have a podcast so that we could talk openly about how challenging it was and how we had to grow through it and are still growing through it every day to get our psychology and our minds right so that we can execute the best and have the best risk management, because let's be real, that's the only way you're profitable in trading. And so we always want to try and have conversations that bring some value to anyone who's listening. And so today we definitely brought the value. So this is my good friend Amy, and she was first on the show last year. We'll link down below that other interview as well. But she is a coach of many things. And I first came to her for fitness with my middle pregnancy. And since then, she has taught me literally a million things that has changed my life. So I'm so glad that you're back and you're doing new things. So tell us about it.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'm Amy Light. As she said, I am a trainer and a life coach. I'm a nutritionist. I love to do it all. But what I'm really excited about is exactly the issue that so many people have when they start a business or when they're trying to get through the beginnings of one, is really neuroplasticity. And that's rewiring of your mind, retraining your thoughts. And so I have an entire coaching program based on renewing your mind and taking what you're trying to learn and do and be so consistent with and actually making it stick. And so I'm really excited to teach NeuroFit. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited to have you back on the show, Amy, and thank you for coming on and sharing with us today. So let's get into some topics that Becky and I kind of relate to. Of course, trading has been a painful journey for us mentally and physically at times. Like it hurts our heart, when we struggle on certain days. And that's just part of the journey, to become a successful day trader. And once, we know enough to make winning trades, but we're just not yet consistent enough to allow those wins to still outweigh the losing days. It's an expensive and very tiring period we have to go through for sure. Sometimes some of us feel stuck, and it's usually when a lot of traders just completely quit. They just give up. They can't take it anymore. When I read from your NeuroFit page that your clients experience setting goals with enthusiasm, but never fully achieving them, wishing for change, but not seeing the results, and consistent self-doubt and negative self-talk. That completely resonated with me regarding the trader's journey. I have felt that way and experienced that more often than I want to admit. How broadly would you say your coaching advice and tips are applicable?
Well, they're super applicable to this journey just because it all starts in your mind, right? Which is really fun about with this podcast is already you two are people that want to believe that it's possible for anyone to become a day trader. And that's that's why I relate it to health and fitness so much, because I believe and know from experience that it is actually possible for anyone to get healthy, start a business, or, make a vision board, go after their goals. And so I love that it applies directly to this is though rewiring your brain and having that consistent commitment to daily showing up for yourself and doing it even when you don't feel like it. And that is probably what you guys feel like oftentimes and when it's like another day and maybe yesterday was frustrating, but you still have to keep showing up for yourself. So learning what to say to yourself when you don't feel like doing it and then creating a script. This is how we rewrite our script, how we create neuroplasticity is by taking old programs out and replacing it with new information. So you would write a script that says, I am a good day trader. I am consistent. I show up for myself. When I show up for myself, I can see it paying off. And these are the kind of things that you say, even when you don't believe in it yet. So if I have a vision board and I have day trading on it, or if I have a new successful business on it, I'm going to say that I'm already walking into that and I'm already successful with it, even from day one, even from the very beginning. Because I'm going to speak it out as if it already exists. And we keep doing that on repetition every single day until it is really hardwired into your mind.
I think that's amazing because it's so applicable to trading. And I think that's I think it's grown on me. So I've worked out with you longer than I've been a trader. And so your words have been in my head since pre-trading. And I think it's actually really helped me. You remember, Kendra, in our first year of knowing each other, I'd be like, Coach Amy said, I am strong, healthy, peaceful, and blessed. And so I think that we should think about that because we're both crying over our days. It's so hard, but it's like hearing the words and retraining yourself to like, I'm okay. This is fine. I am still a good trader. This is just one day. This is a part of the journey, but it doesn't happen overnight. So I think a script makes a lot of sense. It's similar to affirmations because we have tried to do this in different terms, I suppose, to rewrite us. And I think that's partly why Kendra and I have found success is because we have just stuck it out and figured out how to talk to ourselves more kindly because it's easy to beat yourself up.
Well, if you wouldn't be rewriting your script for what you guys want to achieve, you would have given up, right? Because it is from the moment we're all born with unlimited potential and it's incredible. But over time, what we're told is you're not good at that, or this isn't going to work out for you. Or we had parents that gave up on things and we saw that as our example. And then we're just raised in a culture that is very much, if it doesn't work out for us right away, then it's not going to work out for us. Well, that is in our brain. We have been programmed with that. So until we start to rewrite the script and say the thing that is going to work for us over and over and over, I mean, you have to do it. We've heard no 48,000 times by the time we're age 5. So imagine how many times you need to say what's going to work for you, because if you believe it works, it will. If you don't, it won't. If I wake up every day and I say, this is not working in my favor, well, it's probably not going to, and it's going to be really hard to stay with it. But if you wake up every day and you say, I know this is just a season. I know that if I'm consistent and I keep showing up for myself, that this is going to work out for my good, then it will. And so it's a lot about just constantly saying to yourself the right thing.
Yes. I love that you brought up the repetition. Really makes me think of, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of advertising marketing campaigns, like these mega companies, right? Like they literally put things on the air like X amount of times, like over and over, whether it's radio, whether it's the ads, the TV shows, because they know like it takes someone's brain so many times to hear something over and over before they even like consider either purchasing something or, so it's crazy that we don't realize that our brains think like that. So we should be feeding ourselves that same kind of, repetition. And so how do you consider because I talk a lot about personal mantras. Like when you talk about like scripting, I know Becky mentioned affirmations. Is mantras, are we talking kind of like the same thing?
Yeah. So that's a great question. There is a lot of science and evidence between, it doesn't matter what we're saying, it has to be the exact same message on repetition. So whether you want to call it your script or you want to call it a mantra or you want to be an affirmation, it doesn't matter. But what doesn't work is a new affirmation every day. That is a temporary, tiny little pump up of a little blurb of something, but that is actually not reprogramming the negative stinking thinking that is keeping you stuck. What we need is a small script of the exact same, say you come up with 5 mantra affirmations, whatever it is. You come up with 5 statements of, I am an amazing day trader. I am consistent and I show up for myself. Pick 5. And then you're going to say those same things every day, once to twice a day on repeat until you're catching those as your natural thoughts, because our brain is a computer file. What we need to remove out of the computer is hardwired into us, this part of your brain that says, I'm nervous or I'm scared or I don't know if this is going to work for me. Well, we have to replace it with a new healthy disc. And that is the simple, tiny, consistent things that you will remember to say to yourself, which means repetition. Just like all those commercials, it actually takes at least 7 times for us to see something in a commercial or hear about it before we actually even believe that it's a real product that we can actually have. It takes 7 times to even see it before we register it's real. And then that many more times beyond that we would remember that it would go file in our brain that we could access it. So that's what's important about people coming back here and learning from you guys. But if I find somebody or my mentors, when I buy a lot of mentors programs, I will rewatch it multiple times so that I'm actually learning and taking in the information.
Yeah, that's so smart because the repetition. I mean, Jermaine, my mentor, even said that when he was learning to day trade, he would listen to it all night long and fall asleep with it in his ear because he swore that just having it around him like sunk it deeper in.
Yeah.
That's funny. You have said, and it was on your website too, I think that people often say that they really want to be successful and they want to be confident and they think that they're trying. And you say that mindset is like the key to real lasting change. So I believe you, but tell us more so that we can like all try and really behave consistently with it.
Yeah, love that question. Okay, so the number one thing, I do coaching calls all day long for fun. It's my job. On my coaching calls, I will ask people, what's gone best in your life in the last 5 years, what's working for you, what's working against you. You set these big goals and you have visions, you want to build this business. So what is working for you and what's working against you? And always, I used to say like 90-10, no, always people say that their mindset is the number one thing that is in their way of them achieving. It's not their spouse. It's not their kids. It's not a time excuse. It's not that they're not healthy enough. It's literally always their own mindset. And I think that's really awesome. And it's hard to hear because then we have to acknowledge and take responsibility that it's up to you. But I want you to right now, whatever you're doing, write down and say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. And that takes the personal responsibility of you being able to achieve anything. It's up to you. And so if you really want it, I want you to say, if it's meant to be, it's up to me, because it is. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to turn on the computer. Nobody's going to show up every single day for you. Like, you have to do it. But when you do it and you do it on repetition, you are also then reprogramming your mind at the same time and making that choice to continually show up for yourself. And that's going to build confidence. So it's like when you want to become confident and you want to get unstuck and you want to change your mindset, the only thing there is to do is just start with day one and start showing up for yourself. And then from there, you will build evidence that you do show up for yourself. And then that builds belief in you, which builds confidence. But until you start to show up for yourself and just decide that you're going to take personal responsibility for what you really want, it is very hard to get past your stinking thinking if you won't show up consistently. And so that's for everything.
It makes so much sense. Like personal accountability of like owning your situation. And if you don't like it, like own it differently, make different choices in the moment. Like one thing that was very for early traders, when you blow your account, it can be that you don't accept your risk management and you will override it and you will make fearful choices and that can drive you down. But those are all personal choices. Like when you change your risk management, you lower your stop as a trader, you're saying, I'm not willing to accept the risk. I don't have enough confidence in myself to honor my system that has proven holds. It's a personal choice of like respect and trusting yourself. And so you do have to like figure out how, if I want to be my best self, I have to have a system that works and then honor it, which is totally personal accountability. Mm-hmm. That's so good.
One of the affirmations that I do, or one of my self-talk scripts that I love saying, is just, again, write it down. But I trust in my own decision making. Like I trust in my own decision making. There are so many people that start something that will stop purely because of doubt, right? But if you're saying to yourself, I do trust myself, I do trust myself, I do trust myself, then you're going to operate in that. And it's not anything more than your own thoughts, right? Leading the way. It doesn't have to be bigger than that.
I love that. You know, it really made me think when you were describing all that, it made me think of, and when Becky talked about our trading, like I know I've told her, like other traders before, it's like every day we have the choice of day one or one day. So the idea being like day one, like every day is a new day when we start fresh. Like we have a new opportunity that we're going to, continue our great habits, or we're going to fail to old habits and not show up how we need to. And then it's like, okay, well, one day I'm going to honor my promises. One day I'm going to hold my discipline. And so it's really great to have that perspective. And then also when you talk about the personal accountability, I love to say what's for me is for me, But you also have to back that up with, like you said, what did you say? If it's something that's up to me?
If it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Yeah, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Oh my gosh, that hits so hard because that's so true. I mean, no one's coming to do it for us. And like, we're so worthy and deserving of showing up for ourselves despite the doubt and, the fear, just pretending to, protect us. So that's really, really strong advice that you're giving all our viewers. So I'm loving it.
Yeah. Well, there's a part of your brain that's called the amygdala. And I love getting a little bit sciencey when I do that in my NeuroFit program. I go into the science of it. I love coaching on a balance of relatability. And obviously I like to put it in layman's terms so that we understand and go, oh, it's so practical that we all have this unlimited potential in us. It's so practical that I could just start with one day, one action step. But then when you get into the science of it and you learn that there's a part of our brain called your amygdala, and that's your fight or flight center, that is where your protection, that's our sensory of our protection. So fear and doubt are there typically for our good, right? And so that was put in us so that we would be protected and we would pause before making dumb, irrational choices. So we are also working against that part of our brain that when I even talk about self-talk or I talk about believing in your ability to succeed, there at first is a lot of what I would say is honestly kind of haters because it's when you have not heard about it enough. You haven't had enough repetition of positive self-talk. You haven't been taught your ability in your own mind to believe in yourself. If you have not been taught ever that you can believe in yourself, that you could start a business, that you do have unlimited potential, regardless of where you were raised or what family you come from, or even your demographics. If you've never been taught that, the part of your brain, the fight or flight, really stands guarded to protect you. And so we're working kind of against that when you're very first starting out, which is where people give up so easily because they have that protection in their mind that says, I don't know if I can trust this. I don't know if this is going to work for me. And so they won't even try out of protection over their mind. But we have to resistance. If you press through that and you just think all I have to do is one day or day one, right? Or, all I have to do is just for this day, I have to wake up. Yeah. I just have to wake up and show up one day. Then it will build evidence that you actually can change, that you can believe in yourself, but you have to show up. You have to show up first before any motivation, any sales, any goodness will ever come. You show up first.
Like stacking your experience in your favor of just keep doing what you think is going to work and believe in yourself and do it. And then at the end of the day, you will have another day booked of experience, of practice, of experience, of fitness, of whatever you're striving towards. And it compounds over time.
Mm-hmm. And then you get to go into all the other fun things that support you to be better in that role. But first you have to believe that it's even possible for you. And then it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. And I like what you said really about the environment you're in, right? Like the room you're in is so important. I know for Becky and I, having to have that support of people who do believe. I mean, you could put the same person in a room of naysayers and haters, like you said, people who have never thought outside of the box or thought bigger, dreamt bigger for themselves. And they're going to think you're crazy. They're going to dismiss you, and then you sit in another room with people who are like, oh, wow, I've never heard of that before. Tell me more. And how are you going to do this? What's your plan? And so it's really so important to guard yourself too with people who are going to be supportive and who are believers and dreamers. So I think what you're offering too is if you don't have that as an individual, if your family just, they're just not, that's not what you were taught. You need to have that network of someone, at least a coach or a community who you can share those things with and not have to feel like you have to be ashamed or, you're being judged for wanting more for yourself.
That's so, so true. I typically, which is really I look at as a benefit, but I get a lot of people that are their solo person in their entire community that wants more. Yeah. There it is actually pretty, I get everybody that is the one person that wants to get healthy in their family, or is the one person that wants to start a business in their family, or the one person that wants the college education in their family. And so they hire me because I'm going to believe in them until they believe in themselves. they borrow my belief until they start to believe in themselves. And it is a wildfire though, when that one person starts believing in themselves and then actually shows their entire community around them that it is possible in their what everybody else has been stuck in. And then it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And then it makes a few around them so excited that they showed them hope that it is possible for them. And obviously that's what you guys are doing for newbies, is showing people that it is possible for them. But I was trained personally by a psychologist based out of Florida, Dr. Shad Helmstetter, and he taught me the same thing. He was like, Amy, I'm believing in you until you believe in yourself. And it is incredible, the power of being like, I have all these mentors. I have these people in my corner. They believe in me. And when I doubt and I don't believe in myself, like I can go to them and they can remind me who I am. They can tell me how good I am at this job. They can remind me why I even started. And it always like picks you back up. And so it is super, super important to have the right people. And even if you don't have the right people, so obviously listening to this podcast with these guys, I would, like for me, I don't have a lot of people in my life that are trying to build businesses or have $1 million sales or get to be a mega, part of people's lives. And so I look to mentors actually online. So I will watch a few specific mentors that are public speakers and that are doing what I want to do. And I'm going to follow them and listen to them on repetition so that I'm speaking like them and not, the doubts of or fears of the people around me that I don't want to pick up their message. Right.
Yeah, I think that's such a benefit of this day and age where we have all these online opportunities. So that if your close people are not as supportive as they could be, you can find people that have the vision that you do for yourself and let that be the voice that you hear, mixing with your own self-talk so that you can dial it in and focus on your priorities, because the people that are around you rub off. And when you're around less than positive people, it's not helpful. So I love that so much, that that's what you offer, and that how you are even bringing it to your own life so that you can evolve further too by using online resources. That's such a great tip.
Yeah. We really have everything you need right here on this beautiful World Wide Web.
Just go for it.
Yeah, you can do it.
While we're recording this, actually, Kendra is heading into her first full marathon in a couple of days. So let's pivot to any athletes that are challenging themselves to those major goals, similarly to day traders trying to level up also.
Yeah, love it. Well, it's all the same messaging. It is all believing in your mindset and pushing, going against that resistance and creating a new script that, of course, you can do this. I do have a full script. So when I write scripts, I actually record audio messages and I have them on my Coach Amy Light YouTube page. I'm going to send Kendra mine for this weekend, but I have recorded self-talk for athletes. And in the past, before I started making my own self-talk audio scripts, I would write all of my marathon or ultra runners these little Post-it cards so that they could have them, and I'd have them read one every mile, right? We're pumping you through the miles through repetition. And then it would be like a little reward at the end of each mile. I think that's really fun. But for athletics and for training, you have to think about how much training went into being able to show up for this one short 4-hour run, right? It's so much training, just like this. So much training goes into building a business, so much more than people want it to. It's never as easy as it looks. It's always a challenge. But when you get there, you get to go, holy cow, all of my efforts are incredible. I've done the training. I've been consistent. I've showed up for myself. And now I get to show up and be my best. So then a script, it's like a 5-minute script that you just hit play and you're going to hear positive self-talk, and it's written as I am. So you're saying it as you are listening. And actually what's really fun with movement is when you're listening to self-talk with movement, it's actually being recorded subconsciously. So those thoughts are going to even quicker pop up as your own natural thoughts. So that's what I am going to recommend, is listening to self-talk before an event or during your event. And it is incredible how much it'll push you through each mile.
Okay. Thank you for that advice. Because I do have the nerves and anxiety, this being my longest distance ever. So I'm just going to start in with those scripts and
Yeah.
Take it.
Well, imagine if from first mile with anything, like imagine before you log into work or before that first mile, that you were, instead of being like, we can be nervous. Like I just did a competition. I did a bodybuilding competition and I was very nervous. I listened to this stuff. I was like shaking in my boots, nervous. But at the same time, with the calm that I have prepared myself for this, I have worked hard for this. I've done what's needed. If I do anything, I believe in giving it my best. And so while I'm nervous, I'm repeating these affirmations that are going to help you run the race well.
Awesome. And shout out to you that I saw your whole bodybuilding competition story on Instagram and you killed it, girl. I was so inspired. I was like, look how strong you are, how amazing you look. That looks so awesome. Can you tell our viewers about that experience?
Sure. I'm big into vision boards, which is a whole nother conversation that we can have. And I can help you with vision boards for next year for work. I coach a lot of business owners on vision boards. And this year I did a workshop and I did one for myself. I did a digital vision board that I was looking at every single day. And I put a picture of a bodybuilder on there. And I was really nervous about it because it seems crazier every year that you get older. But I wanted for my 4th birthday to be in the best shape of my life. And so rather than having to know the how, I just put the vision up. And so I decided to put it there. And then I hired the right coaches. I had the right mentors in my corner. I created my own self-talk script for that. And then I followed nutrition. I stopped doing cardio because I learned all the benefits for our hormones in perimenopause and menopause of strength training instead of beating our bodies up. And then just focused on sleep and just the same process over and over and over. And I let it take time. And so it was really fun to watch all my vision board happen. It's so awesome, but it's different. So it's different, right? Kendra's doing mental health because everybody there, like runners tell me all the time, they have incredible mental health because they get out, they feel so good. It does give you good energy and a strong heart. So there's benefits to both. But I just wanted this one year to discover like if I could really get my saggy butt tight.
Well, is also a very versatile athlete. She punches on her punching bag and she does weights and stretching. Cool. Like she's the boss. I'm the one who's like, I feel like 5K is plenty.
Yeah. I remember your first 5K.
Yeah, you do. And I was like, that's enough.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I love weight training with you. And it actually has changed everything about exercise for me. And you're the one who taught me that it's a way that women can have more testosterone in their bodies. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that plays a part in training because you do have to have a little bit of ego, as we have mentioned, a little bit of controlled ego in training and confidence. And I think that testosterone actually plays a part in that. So I think it actually, for females, I think it's a big benefit to lifting weights because not only are you stronger and have a mental health outlet in lifting weights, but it also makes you just overall your mindset stronger, I think.
Well, it's confidence, it's resistance, right? It's just all activity is good activity. I say that with bodies too. All bodies are good bodies. It's just learning as we age how strong, like we are not young starting new businesses, just to let you know. I know you are so young, but you are still so young because we have our health on our side and you do look incredible and you have great energy. So you are very youthful as far as aging and how are these strong old lady bodies that we want to have these businesses and successfully growing for years and years and years to come. Like that is a strength and a health that we need to perform at our best in these businesses.
I 100% agree. I mean, I'm stronger. I could say I'm stronger now than I was in my 20s for sure.
That's so awesome.
I worked out for different reasons. I worked out for the weekend so I could look good on the weekend, right? Or for the summer, but it wasn't a lifestyle and it wasn't consistent. It wasn't part of my daily, regimen. It's just, it had different intentions around it and it wasn't sustainable. So it's a huge difference when you are approaching it because you want to feel strong and you want the health benefits, not only physically, like that's kind of the organic outcome, but you have the mental, the mental strength from it. And then you and you combine that, with your physical strength, it's like, that's just like you're winning all around. So,
yeah. Well, I have to compliment you on being a hybrid athlete, though. And that's what I call it. When you can be a hybrid athlete and you can be strong in confidence and in muscle, and then know that you're conditioned to be able to do any cardio that you want, that means that you could do any adventure you want, which means when you're making all the money you want, that you can afford all the vacations that you want, and then nothing is ever holding you back.
Yes,
well, I'll speak into existence. Becky knows this. One of the reasons why I want to be so strong is because I also want to be a surfer. So when I in my beautiful beach town, I'm going to be surfing. So I did take surfing lessons for the very first time when I was in Orange County over summer. I knew the only way I was able to get up many times, and I knew the only way I could do that, because it was a lot of physical strength, was from all the planking I do. It's from all the it wasn't quite from the cardio. I think it was really from the strength training, because it was a lot. It was very physical. Yeah. So, we have a lot. I mean, we're not spring chickens, but we have so much life ahead of us, and there's nothing keeping us from doing all the amazing physical adventures we want to do. All about that.
Fun.
Okay, one last question, Amy, before we lose you. Sure. But what do you specifically attribute to creating lasting change? So I think a lot of us have had ebb and flow with our mindset over the years. And then if you have a really hard day, it's easier to sink back into old bad self-talk versus hold steady with a strong mindset. So what's the best tip on that?
Well, everybody's human. And so we remind ourselves that it's progress over perfection. And I'm going to say it again. You are a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. But it is really just repetition. I mean, over and over and over and over. If you feel like you're sliding back, you should notice when you're practicing NeuroFit and you're listening to self-talk, you should notice, and you will. Actually, you will, because I do on my phone calls with my clients. They are saying to me, I cannot believe how fast I'm capturing my old thoughts and habits and thinking about what the new habits are or the new script is. So you do notice progress in how quickly you get back on track. If you've noticed that, I mean, just from any time that you've maybe you tried to decide that you were going to eat right, or you're going to get into a new hobby. Every time that as time goes on, you notice that you're just a little bit easier to get back on track. You come back a little bit faster. So that's the same thing with mindset. When you're practicing and you keep practicing, you can't take an entire life. So for me, I started studying this after 18 years of hearing my parents. I was raised with very anxious father that was worried and scared about everything under the sun. And oh my word, now I just handle it better. And then my mom has money psychology, a lot of money psychology things that I learned. And so when I was younger and I decided that I was going to take responsibility for my own thought life and I was going to capture my thoughts and rewrite my script, I had 18 years. So now I'm training some women with their thought life that have had 60 years of hearing negative body image and negative self-talk, negative food or dieting culture, or that they couldn't have their own job, or they, so many things. And so what we do know is that our minds actually start to rewrite themselves after just 21 days. That is, if you have 60 years of negativity in your brain and knowing that you could get progress in 21 days of repeating a positive affirmation script every day, that is what I call fast results. How many people are willing to stick, though, with listening to positive self-talk, the same message, 10 minutes every morning for 21 days? I bet I lose a lot of people within those 21 days, even though we're trying to rewrite 40 to 60 years, right?
Yeah.
But it's just going, okay, well, I missed a few days. I'm getting right back on track and I'm going to keep listening to it. When I had my greatest success in rewriting my script, and why people say, Amy, how are you so positive now, is because I listened to self-talk for getting started. I kept reading, right? We keep learning, but I listened to it while I was getting ready every morning for 10 minutes for an entire year. If you gave yourself 1 year of committing to something positive, it will change your life. Just like if you woke up and showed up for yourself every day for doing 10 minutes of walking or planking or whatever it is, right? It's going to change a habit and a script. And so I just encourage anyone that struggles with negativity or doubts or fears or has never tried to listen to positive self-talk or never even thought awareness. This is a whole nother lesson of becoming aware of your thought life. That's what I train in my coaching program. But it is just, the challenge would be just listen to your own thoughts for just a couple of days and acknowledge what change you want to see. And then we start listening to self-talk, and it takes only a few weeks to rewrite so much past history. Yeah. And then it's going, okay, well, that's my old self. Now this is my new vision. And so I can't just listen to this for a couple weeks. Like, I'm going to listen and be committed for years.
Yeah.
But then everything changes.
Everything changes, and all these doors will open up that you were hesitant and scared and never thought would fully be yours, but they can be if you really believe it and come to have that be your mental script of I am a consistent day trader and I do honor my risk management and I know how to trade the market. And so then that just is what happens day after day after you train your mindset around your skill set and your experience and showing up and doing it I see how you brought it all together, Amy. That was great.
If you start with this, with day trading or whatever business it is that you want, if you believe it works, it will. If you don't, it won't. And if you ask anyone that is crushing it, that is the number one in your industry, if you ask them what they do, they absolutely believe it works.
Kendra, that's why we're still here. Because we believe in it and we just don't quit.
Yeah.
And we have good people around us that are reinforcing.
Right. I love, Amy, how you drove home that point about the first step has to be the awareness and has to be the realizing that that whatever that program is, memorized program, and then being open to challenging it, but then being open to the challenge of challenging it and what that really looks like. And because that feels uncomfortable for everyone, unlearning things and just showing up, one day, every day. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So I loved having Amy back, and I feel like before she dropped gems, but this was next level. You gave away a lot of us today for us to take away from your expertise, but you have more to offer. So maybe just tell us a little bit about what we're going to put in the description below so you know what all it has.
Sure. Well, my new program isn't it's all done for you. If you struggle with doubt, self-esteem, or just getting started, that is exactly who my program is for. It is an online coaching program. It's all available. You get complete access to it actually forever. So it's different than anything I've ever done. If you join me for our program, I'm coaching you through 8 video modules with all of the content and the journaling and the self-talk scripts and the videos so that by the time that you've gone through this, I like my coaching program to take about 8 weeks. So remember, we're pressing through those first 3 weeks, but 8 weeks of repetition of really discovering your unlimited potential and writing the script of the life that you want, that you will be changed in 8 weeks. And it's so awesome because we are changing for good or for bad, right? Change is inevitable in our lives. And so you have the potential to absolutely take responsibility, take control, and change your life in just about a few short weeks. And so it's really so awesome. And it's packaged all right there. And again, if you go to neurofittalk.com, you can see all the modules. I actually tell you everything that I'm teaching you in the modules. And then there's payment plans on there also. So I would love for you to go to neurofittalk.com.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Because we wouldn't even have you on here if I didn't know and love you and totally believe in what you offer, because mindset is everything. So It's awesome. It's a great opportunity if anyone speaks to anyone's soul and where you're trying to improve. So thank you for being here and thank you for being with us watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed the value add today and have a great day, everybody.
Take care.